Hello and welcome to week 3. This week, I want you all to focus on finishing your annotated bibliographies. So within that process, you will continue to evaluate and analyze or I should say analyze and evaluate your sources and document that information in your annotated bibliographies. One of the things that I wanted to mention was that in the sample annotated bibliographies, you'll notice that there are no conclusions and there are no introductions. And in your annotated bibliography assignment sheet, you have to have an introduction and a conclusion, okay? So just an explanation on that is that in the past, when I usually teach 112, of course, I'm usually teaching it during the 15-week semester, or I'm teaching it during the 6.5-week semester over the spring. So we have a lot more time to work with the annotated bibliography and as we move on to the researched argument. So because this course is only 6 weeks and you're pretty much handing in your final paper in that fifth week, I wanted to condense some of the content that you're going to put in your final research argument and kind of have you thinking about that in your annotated bibliography. So essentially in your annotated bibliography, you will begin to write the rough draft of your introduction and your conclusion, and that will be tacked into your annotated bibliography. So a couple of you had questions about that last week. So how is that supposed to look? Unfortunately, I don't have an exact example of it because it's my first time doing it, and usually an annotated bibliography does not have an introduction and a conclusion. However, use this opportunity to try to develop your thesis statement about what it is that you're researching. So that's why I've waited to tell you about the introduction and the conclusion in your annotated bibliography, because it's happening as a retrospective, or more so after you have collected the data process, okay? So after you've collected your data, after you've made your entries, this is a perfect opportunity to take a stab at writing your introduction and your conclusion for your paper based off of the information that you've collected. So basically, that's all you have to do in terms of incorporating your introduction and your conclusion into your annotated bibliography. So again, when you think about these two components of your annotated bibliography, think about these things that, they're under construction, they're in the developmental phase. So I'm not expecting you to have a clear-cut, well-defined thesis statement in your introduction for this annotated bibliography. And at the same time, I'm not expecting you to solve any problems or answer any questions in your conclusion. In your introduction, you can say things like, this is what I'm thinking about. This is the sort of information that I've come up with. If I were to write a research paper today, this is how my thesis statement would sound. Remember, I have an understanding that all of this is under construction. In terms of your conclusion is also under construction. So again, you do not have to solve something in your conclusion. You can say that based off of the information that I've collected, this is where I'm going to go with my research paper, keeping in mind that this is the same topic that you're going to explore in your final research paper. So again, this is all developing as one big paper. So you want to think about your annotated bibliography, the introduction, the conclusion, the entries that you're making. How is that all going to develop my final paper? Okay, so I hope that gives you some clarification on this concept with the introduction and conclusions. Now, in your email for this week, I've provided you some information about how to write introductions and conclusions. So again, use this information from the links that I provided from the email, along with the readings that you'll have next week on, writing introductions and conclusions for your actual researched argument essay. Moving on to the ciphers page, I've been reading your comments on ciphers, and I've been enjoying reading your comments. This week, I've been a little bit behind with replying to your comments on ciphers due to correcting papers, but I want you to go back through ciphers this week and look for my responses to the things that you are writing. Also, I'm going to be putting up some more links on evaluating sources and helpful links on writing your annotated bibliography. So be sure to go on the ciphers page to look for information for that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Again, the best way to reach me is through email or if you want to go ahead and ask me a question on ciphers, go ahead and do that. As a reminder, the annotated bibliography is due on July 27th, no later than 8 a.m. Be sure that you attach your annotated bibliography as a Word document and email it directly to me. Again, this annotated bibliography is for you to help develop what you're going to say about your sources in your final researched argument. And all this stuff will make sense once we embark on the research argument next week. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. If not, I'll see you all on the Facebook page.